All right, everyone. I am here with Dr. Melissa Leedy of Legacy Coaching Services, and I'm really excited to talk to her because she's been working with me for a few months now in one of my group mastermind coaching programs. And she's offered to come here today and just talk a little bit about what the experience has been like for her. So, Melissa, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
All right, so I am a clinical psychologist, and I have been in my business for about a year and a half. The first year, it was just me. I was a solo private practice, and in February of this past year, I started converting to a group, and so that's what I've been working on, converting to a group and getting some of my systems down, and just trying to build a better business foundation.
Yeah, and it's been so exciting because you've been so good about outsourcing and stepping up as a leader for the people who are in your group practice. And, I've really seen how powerful it's been for you to not do everything yourself and start to hand off some of the other tasks.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know sort of what hesitations did you have about joining the mastermind before you joined?
Well, I think my biggest hesitancy was just the financial investment. I was worried about the return on investment, which I would be with any coach. I think probably I shouldn't have worried about that as much as I did. As you know, I don't like to look at numbers. I don't really the financial part of it. So had I known where I was financially when I signed on with you, which I think I signed on in January or February to start in March. But, I really honestly didn't know, have a strong sense of where I was financially in the business. And so I just was nervous about investing more money in my business. So that was probably the top thing. And I think the second thing was just, I was, I've been so used to listening to coaches online who deal only with therapists that I was a little bit worried that because you have such an expansive range within women who are online or have storefronts, but I was a little bit nervous, like, are you going to be able to narrow it down enough for my specific profession? But it did make me feel a lot better that you actually are in my profession or had been, and that you had a private practice. And so I knew that you had experience doing what I am doing right now. So that was good.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit about the results that you've achieved since March when we started together.
Okay. Gosh, I have a big list of them. I think the most exciting result is that my gross profit has increased 50% from March to July. And that's when I'm really counting because our mastermind started, but also the first quarter of the year, I had a lot of systemic changes going on. So from March to July, I increased 50%. My VA who does my intakes and things like that and tracks incoming calls and conversions, the numbers that she's been tracking, I have increased client conversions by 34%, which really is probably just because she's been able to answer the phone in live time. And hiring a VA, I had hired her I think in late January. But there was a lot of onboarding that I needed to do, a lot of helping her become more effective at selling. And she's great at customer service naturally, but just learning the industry. And so there was a lot that, you helped me with that of just knowing how to train her, how to do role plays.
Yeah.
That I was nervous about, or I didn't think about how to do efficiently. So I think that was a really big one was, really getting her on board and helping her feel more comfortable. So also I increased from having only one clinician to 4 clinicians, and really learning how to mentor them and how to just help them have better business systems. And for me to learn how to be a group leader, they're contractors, not an employee, but I think for me to really step into that role, that's been a mindset shift, and it's also made me realize that I do need to outsource more things because it's more beneficial for me to spend time mentoring them and helping them build a strong foundation. And some of those little tasks,
Yeah.
to outsource out. So that's been another big thing.
Right. And I think what's really important is that you're talking about an increase in profit. And I love that because your expenses obviously do increase. Like you have to pay your clinicians, you have to pay your VA. Those are things that are costing you money, but you still have had a huge increase in profit. Despite the output. So it's not just talking about the sales and the income, but you're actually talking about profits, which is really amazing.
Well, and I think that when you think about it that way, so yes, even though I'm paying my VA, she's had an increase in number of hours from when it was just her and I.
Yeah.
I have 5 people and I'm outsourcing more things to her. So I'm, she's working way more hours than she was, and I'm paying her way more. However, if she is able, let's just say, to get me 2 clients a week, my contractor's 2 clients a week, and they come for 10 times, right there, it's like you can
exactly.
It's such a bigger increase in profit. And I really love being able to support somebody else. I love being able to help her make an income. And I was going to say I think the other maybe biggest mindset for me is learning how to prioritize tasks and create SMART goals for the week. I think that's something that you do really well, is really helping the people that you coach narrow down what do they need to work, like what's their big picture,
right?
What you want to work on for the week, and then how are you going to get there throughout the week? Because I think prior to this, it's just been like very overwhelming.
Yeah. And I think that, I tend to work with a lot of overthinkers. So, it really is my goal to help you guys stress less and cut back on that overthinking process. Because it's so easy to get caught up in that and not actually be able to get far in reaching your goals because you're so overwhelmed by everything you're trying to accomplish.
Right. Well, and I think just, building that framework out for the people that you coach, I mean, it's really helped me because I'll have my, 3 to 5 steps throughout the week. And then it's like, I get those done. Sometimes for just a couple hours and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do this and this and this. And so I work so much more efficiently. And, some of the tools that you use, with us, I have been using with my contractors, like the screen sharing, things like that. So I have become much more efficient in how I coach my clinicians, how I onboard people, and, it's been good.
And one of the things that you've definitely excelled at for sure is creating like your own processes that are repeatable. And I think that's important is that, I can't give everybody certain things to do, but it's important that you all personalize them in a way that feels good for you. It's not because that what I say is bold. It's about making sure that you're taking it and tweaking it in a way that feels fun for you and easy to do. And I definitely think that's something that you really been so good at, is creating that, detailed step by step for everything you do so that you can spend less time getting a new project started.
Yeah. And I think that's right. And, there's times that I get stuck in that detailed process, but one of the things I love about you is that, you remember, our goals and our steps and accountable. And, I've needed that. And so I think it has been also really, really good thing.
Oh, good. Well, I'm so glad you joined us this round. I'm so glad that you were open to sharing your experiences with other people because I really appreciate that. I appreciate that you're letting people see the behind the scenes of what it's like to work with me, and hopefully it wasn't too scary.
No. And I will say to whoever is watching, I think one of the things that I love about you, that I appreciated about you from even when I did your small thing, what was it, in December?
Yeah. Thoughts, right?
Yeah. So that was the first thing I ever signed up for with you, and it was a large group thing. But you were so invested online. You showed up online and were so engaged, and that was like the clincher for me because I felt like if I'm going to be paying somebody to help me, I want them to be engaged, and you were, and you showed up.
Thank you.
And that's one of my favorite things about you.
Right.
Aside from also like really encouraging us to make very smart goals. But I love that you are so invested in the people like
I am, and as much as you guys let me be invested, because if you're open to that, I'm gonna sneak right in there.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do.
Well, thanks so much, Melissa. I appreciate you sharing this today, and we'll obviously be in touch soon.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.